So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Therapy Thursday for the One Point Safety Show. I'm joined by my co-host Scouse Andy, and we are going to talk today about the Commanders. We're going to have a real therapy session here. It's all going great, Scouse. It's going to be fine. It's nearly Christmas. We're almost there. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. No, don't do that. This is not where you want to be, to be honest with you. But thanks
Yeah,
for listening. If you are listening,
you don't want to
listening.
be feeling the pain that we're all feeling, man, or how bad we are, in general. But yeah, man. But it is close to Christmas. I suppose that is normally a nice time of year. So for most
Hmm.
people,
We'll see.
yeah,
Not
for
if you're a
most
Commanders
people, yeah,
fan, yeah.
everyone.
But we'll see. Are you doing well, though, Scouts?
Yeah, I'm all right, Paul. Yeah, I'm
Good
all right.
stuff, mate. Good stuff.
Yeah, how about yourself?
All right, yeah, still full of cold as we've just been discussing there. It just won't go away, but
Pussy.
it is what it is. That's exactly what I am. Yeah, I'm just a great big fanny, but there you go. It is what it is. We can't be helped, can it? So I mean, yeah, let's get into it then. We'll get into it straight away, and we'll get into our usual segment, which is the news. So let's go with what we've got on the news. Um, we've got a long snapper. We have a long snapper in place. Tucker Anderson is called, signed him off the practice squad of the Patriots. Um, we'll talk about the long snapper and why the other long snapper is gone. Bit late, in my opinion, bit delayed. Cameron Cheeseman was obviously close to the edge already. He's gone on the practice squad, this guy, so he's not even on the 53 yet. So I've got no idea who's snapping balls this weekend, or whether I'm pretty certain they'll call him up because he's the only one in the squad. But we'll uh,
I
we'll, we'll
think
go
so.
with it.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
we'll
look, you
go with
probably
it.
get injured the day before the game, and then
Tucker Adlington, I apologise. I should have got that right first time, but that's how much of a shit I give about that, to be honest with you.
well,
But
let's face it, right? I mean, we've I'd say realistically, there's two teams worse than us in the NFL at this moment. Carolina, and who's the second one? Is the
New
Pats.
England.
So what the hell do we do? We find that only one of the two teams that are worse than us, and we decide, oh yeah, let's fucking rob their long snapper off their practice squad.
I know that he
He
did
is
work out
wrong.
with us.
If you get better, not worse.
I did know that he got he worked out with us last time when Cheese was almost on the chopping block. But they deemed that stage that Cameron Cheeseman was better than
Yeah, well, what's that tell you though? What's that tell you if
right.
Chiefs is better? If he out practiced him, if he actually outperformed him in practice, obviously this guy's shit. So I'm not
Well,
looking forward to this guy on Sunday at all.
if he can snap a ball, I'm happy.
Yeah, what you mean? Instead of being on the floor, it'd be above Trey's head this time. Tress's,
Yeah, probably, yeah,
yeah, man, disaster,
probably.
absolute disaster.
So in other news, then Ron had a press conference, EB had a press conference, and Sam Howell was also at a press conference. Ron has preached consistency in Sam Howell is what he wants to see over the next final three games, and he's reiterated that he is the guy going forward. We'll get into that a little bit later on as well. He's also said he's looking at getting younger players or players who haven't had a lot of game time playing within the next 3 years, so we can evaluate what we've got going forward. I mean,
It doesn't
what
matter
are
what
you?
one thinks nowadays. To be fair, I mean, this is the problem. He's he's gone. You know he's gone. So what's the point in him now trying to show? Oh, let's give the kids a game. It doesn't. It doesn't really matter now. You know, is it nice to see these guys and as fans, to see these guys we've not really seen too much of and see what they can do? Sure, but no, Ron being out about talk about consistency. I mean, I don't think he's been consistent about us being bad.
Think we
So
have been consistently bad. Yeah,
that's what I'm
exactly.
saying. He's consistently bad GM. All the decisions that he's made of personnel and time management, which we'll mention later on about this game. We just no, just blew basically. And then yeah, I mean, I can carry on and keep going and going. It's not a sorry, Ron, but it's forget you trying to talk us into talk any sense to us because you just don't do it, mate. And by the
Yeah.
way, speaking, I mean, I don't know if you saw it or not. Did you see the little mini interview with the previous long snapper we had?
Nick Sundberg. No, I didn't
Thunberg, yeah,
see
yeah,
that. No, I didn't see that. I
yeah.
know he
So
was apparently mistreated, and he
yeah,
was
Ron
well, he
said to
feels
him
like he was
to his
mistreated. Yeah.
face. Ron said to his face because his last year was Ron's first year,
That's
and
right. Yeah.
he was kind of like in the preseason he was injured and he was
Mhm.
rehabbing in DC rather than no I think he lives in Arizona or something like 2 miles
Right.
away. Um, And Ron kept saying all this, like, oh, blowing smoke up his ass. Yeah, we'll get a contract done. We'll get a contract done. And then they cut him. So literally 3 days before free agency. So obviously his agents had
Wow.
no fucking no time to work out any jobs for him or anything. So it was just a nightmare. I just thought, I always thought he was a player's coach. I always thought like the players loved the guy because, you know, of how like how much integrity he's got in his
Mm.
actual in his arsenal. And well, Sundberg did is throwing him under the bus a little bit, saying, "Well, I mean, he's not as nice as you think he is, type thing. So not as good as you
Wow.
think he is, as in a player's coach." So that kind of shocked me a little bit actually reading that today.
Interesting. I haven't seen that. I mean, I'd like to probably give that article a read and have a look at it, but I
Yeah, there
do
was just
know
a
that
little
obviously
mini interview,
Sundberg had
really.
a
Like
really
he was on
bad
a
back, didn't he, for a couple of years, and he played through the pain barrier for us. But big mates with Tress as well, and obviously Dustin Hopkins as
yeah,
well. So interesting that he hasn't got another job within the NFL either. So
yeah. I
I
mean, he
wouldn't.
might have retired now with injury or whatever it is, but the
Yeah.
thing is, like Ron basically flat out lied to his face. It's not nice.
Wow.
It's not good, man.
Mm. No,
That
not
was the
good.
beginning of his tenure.
Well, I will
Evidently,
go
with
and definitely try and dig that out, Scouse, and have a look at it. So we'll get into it then. We will review the LA Rams game, 20-28 loss against the Rams. It drops us to 4-10. The Rams go 7-7. I'll give you the stats as we're there, and we'll get into them because one will jump off the page immediately to you. Jacoby Brissett, 8 of 10, 124 yards and 2 TDs. Sam Howell stats 11 of 26, 102, 1 TD, 1 interception. Chris Rodriguez, 10 carries for 35 yards. Terry had 6 receptions for 141 yards and 1 TD. Bit of a breakout game for Terry. It's the game that we've kind of been asking for a long time. Curtis Samuel, he had 5 receptions for 41 yards and 2 TDs. And Quan Martin had 1 sack and Deron Payne had 2 sacks. On the other side, Matt Stafford was 25 of 33, 258 yards through the air, 2 TDs. Kyron Williams absolutely killed us. 26 carries for 152 yards, 1 touchdown, but he also had 2 fumbles, which was
Mhm.
interesting. Cooper Kupp, 8 receptions for 111 and 1 TD. Puka Nacua, 4 receptions for 55 yards. Demarcus Robinson, 2 receptions for 44 yards and a TD. And Ernest Jones was the only player on the Rams to get a sack for the game. Thoughts on the game initially, Scouse, and what you saw happen, what you thought happened, and we'll dig into it as we go through, I suppose.
And I thought we were bad. I thought we
Mm.
were bad for most of the game. I thought that the Rams took it easy on us. I really did. I thought they took out like a decent lead on us early, and then they just decided to go into like second gear, especially the second half. They really weren't bothered at all. They were like, "You're not getting 28 points on us, so we've already won this game. Goodbye." So they really shut down their kind of game. And even with their big mistakes, now as you mentioned 2 fumbles, and I think both of them were in the red zone as well.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
So it's kind of fair play, from our defense. You got to give them a little bit of credit there. They caused those fumbles and recovered them, which was great. However, conceding 28 points, and they really shut down, kind of like from half of the third quarter onwards. They didn't even look like they were trying. Their defense didn't need to try. I mean, and then obviously we're going to talk about the kind of disgrace of the clock management going forward. Um, that 10 play bloody, took like 5 minutes off the clock to get
Yeah, it
one.
was wild. Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
wild.
that is god awful. That is just the
Yeah.
worst of it. I mean, but that was when the Rams thought, no, actually, we're going to stop. We're going to start and actually cause a problem here. That she's tried again for just that kind of
That
series.
little bit, yeah, that
Just
little
that
bit,
little
yeah.
bit. He tried again, that little bit, and then we couldn't even get a yard for 10 goddamn
I
plays.
know.
This
Well,
is how bad we are, man. I mean,
we'll get into that. I mean, interestingly enough, we had that. We'll get into the other bits first. Sam Howell, let's start with him. He had an awful
yeah, he
game.
had a bad game. He
He
did.
had a really, really bad game.
I'm a big fan of
You
Sam,
can't
but
dress it up anyway, any other way. I still rate Sam. I still think Sam is the guy moving forward. I would rather we traditionally built it, and I know some fans don't want that, especially when you're at the high end of the draft and there's these you know, it's like anything,
Oh,
isn't
your
it? You walk
superstar.
past you walk past the shop and you see a really nice sports car in the window, and you're like, yeah, that's a really nice sports car. But I've got a family of four, and I actually need like something that's decently built and can do the job. But do I want the sports car? Oh, there's always that.
The
It's
mileage ain't great
this.
on this. Going to cost me a fortune.
It's the same thing, isn't it, with the
uh,
draft? We know that. We look at these generational quarterback talents that have come out all the time. We hear the draft analysts talk time and time and time again. And let's be perfectly frank and honest with you. Over the past 25 years, 95% of these are busts or don't work out or a journeyman. I mean,
or just
Christ,
career
Mitch
backups.
Trubisky.
Yeah, yeah,
Mitch
exactly. Yeah, just
Trubisky was
backups.
the best thing since sliced bread. Sam
Yeah,
Darnold was the best thing
he got
since sliced bread.
overdrafted. Trubisky. Trubisky got
Josh
really old.
Rosen. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We've been there too. RG3. You could
Trubisky
argue
had
that
some
again.
talent. I mean,
He had
some of the other
talent.
guys were
Dwayne Haskins. I mean,
yeah.
Daniel Jones. We kind of knew that was bad. Trey Lance recently. I mean, the only real generational ones are Joe Burrow, probably Trevor Lawrence,
And
Patrick
even then, he was
Mahomes,
god awful first
obviously.
season. So
Yeah, of
as
course they were. They had
rookie
terrible
season,
seasons. If
yeah.
you take Sam's numbers, and I'm not a real stats guy, but if you take Sam's numbers and you compare that with Josh Allen, you compare that with Trevor Lawrence, you compare that with Joe Burrow, he's better than all three of them in their first season. Now, this is
Exactly.
we have to use this as his first season. So traditionally, Scouts, we would always build from the inside out, and you'd say, do you know what? The O line needs to be fixed. Let's build the O line first. Let's drop the. We've got the positional talent already there in Dotson, McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. Yeah, you might need to replace Curtis as well, but even so, you've got talent around you. You get a decent tight end somewhere down the line, and then boom, you drop the quarterback in. Job done. If you've already got the guy in the house, give him a try, because otherwise, you're just wasting talent. Jaden Daniels, I keep hearing all the time now. I'm seeing pictures of him mocked in a Washington uniform. Just because he's won the Heisman Trophy doesn't mean this guy's going to do anything at the next level. Kyler Murray, who else is a running quarterback? Yeah, Lamar Jackson, I'll give you that one. I totally get that. But Lamar has arm talent too. And this kid wasn't even considered a first round draft choice 4 weeks ago. Now all of a sudden he's the next best thing.
Yeah,
Why does it get so hyped? We've got 4 months of this now. 4 months of this to carry on.
Problem, and the problem is, because we're so bad over this season, is that this is what fans are looking forward to now. They're looking forward to who we're going to get, because who's going to change the franchise, who's going to be doing this and that. And I get it. I mean, we obviously we're talking about it right now, but the thing is, it's kind of, I still want to see us win games.
So do I, man.
Here to win games. This is the whole point of being a football team in the first place, is to win games. Okay, yeah, it would mess up our draft stock 100%. Yeah, if you won a game, we'll probably jump down to like bloody 7th or something.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'd rather us win some games. I want to enjoy us winning a game rather than actually just sitting there going, "Fuck's sake, we lost again by another 30 points." We're good though. Yeah, we got second pick in the draft. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. It is the booby prize. It's a consolation prize. The draft thing. And you could say, you can say whatever you want about it. Oh yeah, you can get this amazing player. We got Chase Young at number 2, and look what happened there. He was good for his first season, and then wasted time for the next 3. So, it's kind of, it really is boom and bust, and
of course it is.
It really is. Look at the draw, man. The draft. It really is. No matter how much you go into it, and we'll talk about it over the summer, but how much you go into it, and traits you go off the things that you could probably take to the next level, etc. And you go through all the guys that we like, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, over the summer. But the thing is, you don't know for a fact that they're going to be a stud until you actually get in and play. Do you know what I mean? And if you don't start because you've got a guy already there, well, you don't know if he's going to be a stud or not.
And the other thing that's interesting there, Scouts, on you say, is I saw a stat earlier because someone was talking about this, and they were going off, and it was a reputable journalist. I can't remember exactly where it was, but do you know 84% of Hall of Famers were drafted outside of the first round? 84%.
Well, to be fair,
so what does that tell you? It tells you that you can find talent in any round of the draft, and it is, as everyone says, a complete and utter crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Yeah, it's mindset, it's mentality.
And it's luck as well. Some of these Hall of Famers might not never got a serious injury.
True.
Where some first round studs got injured all the time and could never make it to the highest level.
And I think to go back on Chase Young, I mean, I don't think he's a bust, He might not be a bust elsewhere, but he was a bust in DC. And that's
Yeah,
the point. He was
I
a
mean,
bust when we had him. But he's
to be fair,
not,
he's
and his
not doing much
injuries were terrible, but he's not doing much in
yeah,
San
his
Francisco.
injuries
And I
were
honestly
bad.
don't think they're going to pay him. I don't think they're going to keep him on.
I don't think San Francisco going to pay him either. I don't think he's doing enough over there. He's not getting enough reps either. You think about it, he's only getting like sparingly the odd third down to pass rush.
1.5
That's all he's
sacks
doing.
since his move. 1.5 sacks.
Yeah,
Look at
so he hasn't been
look at
producing,
Montez
no?
Sweat. Montez
Six,
Sweat is our highest sacks leader on the Commanders at 6.5, and he's got 6 sacks at Chicago as well.
Yeah, and he's only been there how many games? What, 4? 3 or 4 games? He's got 6 sacks already for them. So this shows you that, and we knew though, we knew who the best,
and we've talked about it.
End was.
Yeah.
It was just a case of, who are we going to pay, and obviously we got rid of both. So a big shock there, but be fair play to Montez. He's gone out there and he's actually produced. He got paid, and he's working his ass to still produce.
It's like looking at your ex-girlfriend though, and checking up and seeing what's going on. It's not the right thing to do. I wish him the best. But he's not.
The jealousy comes back out.
Yeah,
when
he's
somebody else. Or
he's not in the burgundy and gold anymore, though, is he? So let's just move on from there. I mean, getting back to Sam, the talk is there. He was benched in the third quarter for Jacoby Brissett. He was pulled out of the game. No matter what way you look at it, he was pulled out.
Yeah,
now this is an interesting take here because Ron has had opportunities to bench Sam in the past. Look at the Buffalo game. It's terrible. Didn't bench him. Why now, with 3 games to go, do you bench Sam Howell? What is it behind that? Are you actually tanking without saying I'm tanking? Because that leads into the question we talked about on the clock management. Because apparently Eric Bieniemy, who is assistant head coach, is completely in charge of the offense in every way. The only challenge or anything that Ron Rivera can do on the sidelines is to throw the challenge flag as the head coach. That is his entire job when it comes to any offensive play. So with 4:47 left on the clock and you need 1 yard, you can't get it in for 4 plays. You end up getting a pass interference call against you by Logan Thomas. You're back on the 11. Then you run a play out to the absolute extreme right-hand side diagonally, and you throw it away. And you're then on 4th down, and you finally convert 11 plays later, leaving you 1 minute and 37 seconds left on the clock. Why are you huddling? Why are you huddling up and using the entire play clock and the entire clock to run down, which is nearly it's 40 seconds, the play clock? You're running 30 seconds of clock every time. Then you've had the 2-minute warning in between, and you still can't get a yard? If you can't get a yard, don't fucking play in American football. Don't play in the NFL. Because it's about bully ball. If you cannot get a yard, you should not be there.
You shouldn't be there.
No, I mean, that is sorry. That is the point.
There, bro.
I know, mate. Yeah, I was teeing off there. This is the point where offensive linemen have to get a grip of themselves and say, fucking push forward and get a yard. You should not be wasting this time. It was never a problem. This has never been a problem.
It's about the will. No, I am bigger than you. I am stronger than you, and I am more forceful than you. And the thing is, though, we didn't show that at all on the O-line at all. I mean, I didn't understand. I mean, when obviously I think Brissett was in, wasn't he? On those,
yeah,
on
he
those
was.
things.
He was. Yeah.
He's 6'4". Why aren't we using him as a fucking?
He's the best quarterback.
Jump over the goddamn top. You know what I mean?
If you look at his stats, he's the best quarterback in the NFL for quarterback sneak, except Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's not here anymore. So that to me says, hold on a minute. This guy's the best at sneaking, and you're not going to run it sneak? So who's that down to? Is this down to EB?
Well, that's the enemy, isn't it? That's down to the enemy.
Down to Ron? Are they both knowing they're going to tank? Because that is just absolute stupidity, especially if Eric Bieniemy is thinking to himself, oh, I need a job. Why would you instantly do that? I don't think players do tank. I never think that's possible. But my word, I was sitting there thinking to myself, are they? And that thought hits the back of your mind, and you're thinking to yourself, there's something not right here.
Yeah, and this is what I don't understand,
because
timeouts could have been used way, way earlier.
Exactly right.
4 minutes, 3:50, whatever. And no one even decided to, not even one of the players. So sometimes the players go, oh, timeout, don't they? And we didn't even see any of that. So someone must have told them straight that we weren't going to win this game, and we didn't want to try to win this game.
Oh, and then the thing that pisses you off even more is you look back and you go, oh, okay, right, we're now in Great. Okay. So the analytics say then you got to take a 2-point conversion. Nah. We'll kick the extra point. And that gets blocked. Fucking brilliant. You know what I mean? Brilliant. And that's what gets Cameron Cheeseman cut.
Well,
I
then
mean,
he got
Christ almighty.
well, to be fair, what got him cut? I mean, we'll go.
Yeah, I
We'll
know.
go to that in a
We'll get
second.
into that in a minute.
Sizzle,
Yeah,
but Cheese, man. I mean, he's yeah. We'll talk
yeah,
about it in a minute.
we'll talk about him in a minute. But yeah, it just baffled my head. I was just like, what is going on here? Are we actually doing this genuinely to get as high up in the draft as possible? Because something wrong here. This coaching staff apparently all behind closed doors. We don't know if it is true, whether to believe the rumors. Apparently, Ron's happy and he knows he's going to get fired. If Ron knows he's going to get fired, why tank? Why would you do that?
See, I don't understand. I mean, do you remember the Denver guy last year? It was a Vic Fangio. I think it was Fangio.
Yeah.
You know, he was. Oh,
no, it was Hackett. It was Hackett, wasn't it? Nathaniel Hackett.
No, it was Lovie Smith. Sorry, it was. It was for the was it the Texans?
Texans, yeah, he was at the Texans last year. Yeah,
and he was getting fired, and he had one game to go, and they were god awful. And what did he do? He made them win that game.
So he won it. So he couldn't get the number one pick. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I remember that. Pick. Yeah,
and that's like, wow. That's what you do as a coach. You go, well, fuck, of course
you do.
Ownership. You would don't want me here. I'm going to fuck up your draft order. So I don't understand why Ron's like, oh yeah, I'll just tank. And same with EB on the same page with him.
Well, exactly. Surely if you're EB, you're thinking to yourself, I've got to prove myself here to either get another coordinator's position or to get, a head coaching position. Because if anyone's actually watching the film and looking at his offense, you're not going to win. You're not going to put him in as an offensive coordinator or anywhere near a head coach. He is not getting the job. I'm done on the Eric Bieniemy train. I'm done on the Eric Bieniemy train. I don't care if he's under contract next year.
Well, has he been promised?
Well, maybe he has been promised. We don't know that. Maybe he has been.
We know what Josh has said to him. You know what I mean?
We don't. We don't know them conversations. We really don't. I'm hoping that's not the case, but for me,
you never know.
He's out. He's out. You know what I mean? Because this is god awful if it's going to carry on the way it is. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, man.
Really frustrating, especially because I'm like you. I want to win football games. And for 4 years, we've had the preaching of consistency, of these players are ready, of it's going to take time. We're building. Your draft class for the last 3 years has been absolutely god-awful.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, honestly, name me a single player out of that draft class who you would say, well, okay, they're not. I mean, all right, I can give you 3. That's it. What, 3 out of about 25 players? I can go Sam Cosmi, Brian Robinson, and probably Jahan Dotson. Everyone else, not interested in, really. Anyone else on that list that you can think of, Scouts?
Obviously, the potential was before, but you don't know for sure, do you?
Yeah, exactly. But again, you don't know, and he was quite happy to bench him without issue.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's easy to bench a rookie, though, isn't it, rather than a star?
I understand that. I understand that.
But yeah,
Quan Martin started to flash. Cam Curl,
hey,
could probably say, yeah.
He's one of our better players. I thought he was probably our best player on defense. Was Quan. I thought he did quite well, considering. Okay, they kind of took the foot off the gas, like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, we did
Cam Curl was an absolute find. I'll give him that. But
that's not wrong, though.
That's not wrong. That was down to Kyle Smith. We've talked about that, haven't we?
That was Kyle Smith's draft that first year of Ron's because it was too late to do anything. So, yeah. So I get it, man. Ron has been bad, man. Ron, the GM, he's not even god awful. He's the worst of the worst. He shouldn't even be a high school coach at GM level. As a GM, sorry. It's not great, man. It's not great.
It's abysmal, isn't it? Anyway, I've had a little bit of a rant there, so apologies.
It's it's consistently bad, and that's what he's really shown these players is how to be consistently bad, not consistently good.
I mean, did you take any positives from the game, Scouts? What did you think? Because I mean, there are a couple there.
The only real positive. I mean, there's a couple of positives. I'd say Quan. We mentioned Quan. Yeah, I think he looked okay. He wasn't brilliant by any means, but he was all right. And then if you're looking on the offense, I mean, nice to see Terry actually have a decent game. And you can say, well, Brissett came in and changed it up. Now, but the thing is, Brissett had all the time in the world because the Rams defense weren't even trying to put pressure on him. See what I mean? Exactly. So he had all the time in the world, and he obviously was throwing darts to Terry. So, any quarterback who gets all the time in the world will carve you open at the NFL level. Even backups will.
One
So
more thing that I wanted to give a bit of a shout out to, and I thought he had a very good game when he came in relief. Cornelius Lucas, yet again, did not give up a single pressure. None.
yeah, but did they
What's
try
that
when
telling
they came
you?
in?
Well, I'm not saying whether they did try or it didn't try, but that's 2 games now where the man hasn't given up a single pressure. None.
Yeah,
Zero. No sacks, nothing.
yeah, I don't understand why they don't play him. I mean, if they're trying to prove a point with Sam, like you mentioned, why bench him now? Well, why don't you bench Wiley? Why don't you bench you
Charles
know,
Leno.
yeah, Leno? Why aren't you benching one of those boys and playing Lucas there? It's not like you haven't got the player to actually. They're probably producing better than what those starters are doing. So why haven't you proven a point with them? That's what annoys me. It's like if you're going to be, if you speaking of consistency, Ron, if you're going to be consistent, do the same thing to these guys because they're not producing either. If you're thinking Sam's not producing, which don't get me wrong, he wasn't. He was awful in the game. Fine, you bench him. That's totally fine. But you should be benching half the offensive line. You should be benching these guys as well to prove to say to them, look, this is how I roll. Not just I'm just gonna make a point out of Sam. No, you should be doing that for guys who are underperforming. And Wiley has been probably the worst tackle probably in the NFL, to be fair, this year. So why he's not done anything to him, I don't know. Again,
Exactly.
consistently inconsistent. That's wrong.
Correct. He preaches consistency, but the only thing that's been consistent is he's been really bad. He's been really bad. Poor play calling.
Poor challenge flags,
everything. Time management, abysmal.
Yeah, I mean, this is. As I'm saying,
great guy.
Great
guy. Not going to deny him.
Experience. This is what I don't understand. He knows the game inside out. He's forgotten things we've not even learned.
Correct.
And the thing is, it's like he's showing up like he's just so bad. Like I don't understand why. I don't understand how a person of that caliber, that kind of experience, he's been in the game like for 50,
only 85
years,
Bears.
He was on 85 Bears as a player, and then he didn't stop there. He coached all the way through his whole life until now. When he's 60 now, wasn't he, or something? In the late 50s,
yeah.
60s. The guy's been around for 40 years, never enough in the NFL. I mean, it's
that's a long tenure.
That's a long, long time, man. Okay, he is a bit of a dinosaur, and I think his tactics aren't great, but again, with all that experience, you'd like to think you should know when to take a timeout. You should know time management minimum. I don't get it, man. He must be doing it on purpose. He must be. There's no way a guy of that experience can be so bad. I just don't get it.
It's just so frustrating, isn't it? I mean, that is exactly what this season's boiled down to, is pure and utter frustration. Because we know how good this team is on paper, but it's paper. Are they paper tigers? Have we hyped them up too much? Have we worn the burgundy and gold glasses and gone, you know what? These players are better than we think they are.
I think we always do to a certain extent, don't we?
Yeah,
we always
overinflate
our players and think, oh, yeah, we've got a team this year. Every start of every season, we always think the same kind of thing, don't we?
I think every fan does that. Every team, those scouts. Yeah.
And obviously, the proof's in the pudding, by about 6, we're like, shit, this isn't great.
Do you know what's so depressing, though, isn't it, when you're at the end of October into November and you're talking about mock drafts? What are we doing?
It's painful as a fan, man, to think like that. I mean, I don't try to think too much about the draft at this moment, but there's a couple of guys we mentioned before that would like, but again, they might not even be there when we play.
I know. One of our questions. One of our questions this week's on that, so
there's months of talking about that.
Yeah, of course there is. We'll get into that.
Let's talk about the games, but again, going on to my sizzle while we're here, mate.
Yeah, Scouse' sizzle.
Scouse' sizzle, baby.
Good old Mike. I am Mike. It's Cheeseman. Of course it is. It's got to be Cheeseman, hasn't it? I mean, it's so bad. I've got to laugh, otherwise I will cry, because you've mentioned it on multiple pods before.
Yeah,
you even traded up for this fool. We even traded up and we lost out on this year. I think it was this year's draft pick or last year's draft pick we missed out on.
Yeah,
I think it was a 6th round or 5th round of the season after we came in the team. So we missed out on a pick there. We went up to get the snapper who no one's ever heard of. And to be fair, most long snappers don't even get drafted ever. Even around 7, they don't get drafted. So why are we going up when no one in the right man was going to pick him, even at like the round 6 that we probably could have got him in, rather than going up to 5th round? Sorry. So
you could have got him in the 7th or as an undrafted free agent, Scouse. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, And then his play, first season, not too bad. You're thinking, okay, yeah, he seems like a decent guy. Look, okay, we'll let us slide one that you've traded up for this guy. Looks like he's doing a good job. And then for this season, if it wasn't for Tress Way, man, how many extra points would we have missed just purely because the ball wasn't even there to actually do? And then obviously this week was the final straw, but we haven't even talked about all the shit snaps that Ways had to deal with. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think you brought it up amazingly. You said Tress Way is an all-pro punter, but he's an elite holder. That's the point.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's probably the best holder in the league.
The GOAT.
Shit he's got to deal with. I mean, the only one that's killed him off, and that was when he got absolutely leathered in the game just gone.
Yeah,
and that was the final straw. It was that. It wasn't the one where Joey Sly missed. It was
I know.
The one that before that was when he got Tress Way
right.
killed. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't understand why he decided to change all his style and his throwing technique and all this. Now I understand Sly wanted a little bit faster on the ball, but surely, even as Sly as a kicker going, well, actually, I'm trying to make this guy do something he can't do, and it's messing him up. So why don't we just go back to what we were doing? And you change as the kicker.
Yeah,
change.
Exactly. You would think, wouldn't you, as a communications team between them three specialists, they'd have that talk.
100%.
These three guys have got to be the tightest people in the locker room.
Yeah,
Tress, Cheese, Sly, they've got to be the tightest group possible. I mean, we talked about it before. Sundberg, Tress Way, Dustin Hopkins were like fucking brothers on and off the field in each other's houses, families. I'm sure it still happens now when you're a specialist because it's such a niche position on the field.
You're there all day. You're spending all day with them.
Not the main team.
You and the other two guys every single time. So you got to get on. You've got to be like on the same page, or you like to think he would be. I think the millions should kind of make you think. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, here's a job, and I'm actually going to try and make it work with these guys. And
the other thing with these scouts as well is,
and you do shit like that. And so for me, I'm for all about bad cheeses. I blame Sly as well. So
you got to get Sly in there.
Sly. I think he needs to go, man.
I know you do.
He needs to go as well. I mean, he's the guy. I reckon he's the guy who started all off Cheese's problems. And then Cheese has lost all his confidence, and now he's just a joke. And he'll never play again in the NFL, I don't think, Cheese.
No, I don't.
I really do. I don't think we get picked by anybody because you see the yips like he's got now. It's over for him now. It's over. Okay, he'll do well for himself. He's earned some money, his first contract, and and he got a good degree as well, I think, at Michigan, which is obviously worth something because Michigan's a good college. So he'll be okay in his life. But again, it's kind of like this guy could have been long snapping for 10 years.
Yeah, look at Sundberg. How long was he with us?
Yeah, so I'm saying somebody used to 10, 11 years for us, I think he was. Yeah. That's how long he was with us for. I mean, didn't even mention his name because he was just Mr. Consistent. You know what I mean? You never really see his dodgy snap from him.
Never.
And it's just kind of, it's kind of like I hate Cheese because he nearly got Tress killed. That's the biggest one for me. It's all well and good missing an extra point or a shit snap and, missed field goal or whatever. But when it's going to get your main guy, your main MVP, to be fair, he's been our best player for the last 4 years, mate. He's been our best player for the last 4 years, Mr. Consistent. And then you get him hurt. Do you know what I mean? Now, okay, fair play, he came back, but he could have easily got concussed there very easily. And you can't have shit like that from stupid things like a snap going like going awry like that.
But for how many games, though, here, Scouse, have we said?
Why?
How many times have we said this season about Cheeseman snaps? How many times have we been on this pod? We knew it was going to happen. That look,
one time it's going to end up.
One time it's going to go backwards, and it's going to be 25 yards back the further way. If I was Tress, I'd have just stood out the way. Happen.
But why would he want to do that? Because he obviously naturally.
I know he's a competitor, isn't he? He's naturally
I don't want to give these guys a heading for 6
touchdown. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So he put himself on the line for it. And they nearly got him hurt badly. He got hit.
I thought that was quite excessive. I
don't think it was that bad. I mean, he left something on him, but you got as you would do if you had the chance to hit the punter.
Of course you were.
I know what you mean. Do you know what I mean?
Because they don't do any contact at all.
They can't take it. They can't take the punishment. So you want to leave a little bit on him. So I get it, but it's just yeah, man. I mean, you can't have your star players getting injured by stupid things like that.
You certainly cannot. And I mean, this is the other thing, right? It's the 21st of December, and we're talking about a long snapper. How fucking bad is this team that we're sitting here talking about a bastard long snapper that's never a problem anywhere else in the NFL? How many times do you hear of a long snapper? You just don't. For years and years and years, no one has ever mentioned a long snapper. You know, the only person who drafts a long snapper is Bill Belichick and us. Surprisingly enough, Ron Rivera
And look
decides,
what we
yeah, I'm
do.
going to.
We follow Bill again and take his
It's just
cast offs from the practice squad for this
It's
week.
just mental to think, do you know what? Like, we're sitting here in early Christmas at the end of our season talking about a long snapper. I mean, most teams don't even know who the long snapper is. I mean, it's Kansas City fans sitting here saying, oh, the long snapper had a really bad snap. You know, it's Philadelphia Eagles fans talking about this, the Bills, the Cowboys, or, you know, anyone else. No, they're not. This is how bad this team is that we're here ranting and raving about a frigging long snapper. I mean, honestly.
When you see players regress, then you think, is it the coaching?
Yeah.
Because these guys, Jesus snapped, for 10 years probably, you know what I mean, before he got to the NFL. And he was fine then. And then
high school, college, no issues.
Exactly. So I'm saying 10 years of snapping.
To get drafted as well, he's got to be pretty good. If you think of it that way.
Mr. Consistent in college. Mr. Consistent for his first season. Then he goes all Pete Tong. And that is, for me, coaching and confidence. That's what that is. That really is. It can't be his skill. He's not like he's 40. Do you know what I mean? Where you think, okay, his body just can't handle it anymore, you know. He's considered for shit. It isn't that at all. So it has to be confidence and coaching. That's the problem.
I mean, I wish you well.
I don't even know what special teams coach is now. Is it still Nate Kaiser?
Yeah, still Nate Kaiser, yeah.
Joke. You're a joke, bro. You know, Tressway's just there. I mean, you're lucky you've got a punter like him. It's not like you've done anything. It's not like you've done anything to actually improve him in any way. And then the other two guys, well, you don't get me started on Sly. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, mate, and all the other kickers you've had under Nate Kaiser as well. If you want to even add Justin Hopkins into that, I mean, this guy was inconsistent as well.
Yeah.
Graham Gano was okay. Kaiser wasn't there here then, but Gano was inconsistent for us. He was awful. We get rid of him. He becomes a bloody All-Pro somewhere else. See what I mean? So it has to be our coaching. It really does.
So he's earned just under 2.4 million cheese. I mean, hopefully
on his career,
hopefully he'll be all right. Do you know what I mean? And
he'll be fine.
He's got a bit of money in the bank,
which I'm sure he is. You know,
as a young lad, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
So young lads tend to be stupid, don't they? Buy diamonds and fucking gold chains and all that. So
yeah, you're right. You are right there too. Yeah.
Well, if he's married, I think he might be married. You know, so if he is,
sure.
he'd be more of a family guy. So he'd be fine, I think, financially, and he's got a good degree as well, and he'll have a good job. So he'll be fine for his life. But it's just like, yeah, mate. So I kind of feel like some animosity towards him, but I also feel a bit kind of gutted for him as well.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of an element of both for me there.
You're right. I mean, anyway, well, that's a great Scouts sizzle this week. At least we had something to speak about because the last couple of weeks have been a bit like.
Rather than a buy.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about now?
Buy one in the drive.
Exactly, yeah. We'll preview the Jets game then. So we are coming up against the New York Jets, who are 5-9 going into the season. It's the 32nd ranked offense versus the 32nd ranked defense, and something has got to give. What a heavyweight clash this is going to be. Not. We'll go through a few of the stats for the Jets then. So their leader on passing is Zach Wilson with 2,271 yards, 8 TDs against 7 interceptions and 46 sacks. Yeah, he's not.
This guy gets benched nearly every week.
I know. Unbelievable. First round pick. Wow. Breece Hall running.
I think he was top 5, wasn't he? Top 3?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, something stupid like that. Yeah. Breece Hall, 637 yards rushing, 2 TDs and 2 fumbles this year. Garrett Wilson, 882 receiving yards and 3 TDs. CJ Mosley is their top tackler at linebacker with 130 tackles. And Jordan Whitehead, who's an outstanding safety, he has got 4 interceptions on the year. So it's not the defense that's the problem for the Jets, as we know.
Oh no, it's stellar.
This offense is awful.
I know. Last week they didn't play that well, and you can see the 30-something. I think last week
they didn't score a point. They had 3 yards of offense.
Yeah, I mean,
with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
What do we always say?
Get right game.
Every team's get right team. So we're going to get smoked here as well.
Oh, we probably are. He's going to have the game of his life.
Here.
He's going to have the game of his life, and he's at
Yeah, exactly. Wilton's going to come in and tear us up, make it look like
4 TDs, 300 yards. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, their defense is going to stop us. I mean, their defense is legit.
It's really great. It is really good. Their front is very, very good as well.
But let's face it, if you're getting 0 points on offense, every team's, even the best team, like the defense will just start to not be bothered either, because it's like, well, we're not going to get back in this game. What's the point? So you lose motivation in game.
Yeah.
And it happens quite a lot when you see your team down by 2-3 scores and you're like, oh, whatever. Do you know what I mean? And that's what happened last week for the Jets. But coming back into this game, they know that we're just as bad as them. They probably think they're better than us, especially their defense will say we're better than their defense and we're better than all their offense as well. So we should win this game. And they're going to come in. Are we at home or away?
It's at the Jets. It's at MetLife.
At the Jets, yeah. So again, they're going to be we're at home. Let's go for it. And I think they give us.
There was talk in the week that Aaron Rodgers was fit enough to play this game. He has been ruled out. He's not playing this game.
Of course it was.
I mean, what do we take from this? This is a winnable game for us. I don't want us to win this game because I have to think back in my head thinks about the draft pick, but I want us to win games too at the same time because I'm a fan and I like to see winning. I want to see, the culture. I want us to win. It ruins my weekend when we don't win. Same as you know that. It's the same as any sports team that you follow. I follow 3 sports teams and they're all frigging horrible at the minute. They're terrible. It just must be me. I'm cursed. I apologize. Yeah, I get it, but it's just weekends are just awful sporting wise for me at the minute. But that little chink of hope. This is one I thought we could win. Last week was one I thought we could win on the season, and we probably end up around 500 again at the 7 wins. That's where I set put us at the start of the season.
We called it last week. We called it last week. If we had the Rams say 6 weeks or 8 weeks earlier,
we'd have won that game.
I think we'd have beaten them because they weren't very good and we were actually looking all right. To a certain extent. I think we would have won that game, but it was last week and they've gone on a big heater and we're just crap. So we lost and we deserve to lose. So
yeah, I mean we'll go through the injury report then. Scouse, we'll have a look at that. And we'll update you. I mean, the injury report comes out around 10 o'clock UK time for Thursday, so we haven't seen that yet. But the injury report so far, Jonathan Allen was on a vet rest day, as was Kendall Fuller, so nothing to report there. First injury is Tyler Larson with a knee. He did not practice. Charles Leno Jr. With a calf. He did not practice. Brian Robinson, hamstring, did not practice. Jonathan Williams, concussion, did not practice. And then we've got some limited practices, and this is John Ridgway with a foot, James Smith-Williams with a hamstring, Cody Barton with a knee. He's obviously coming off that knee injury and being on IR. He's full practice. Emmanuel Forbes' elbow is still on there with full practice, and Tress Way back, full practice. On the other side, the other team, the Jets, they've got quite a big, heavy injury list as well. John Franklin Myers, who's defensive line, he's got a hip, didn't practice. Aaron Rodgers' Achilles, obviously didn't practice. Zach Wilson, quarterback, concussion, did not practice.
Oh, well,
Israel, he might not play. He was benched and went into the concussion tent for Trevor Siemian, I think his name is. Yeah, it's Trevor Siemian. Yeah. Israel Abonaconda, ankle running back, he's limited. Mekhi Becton, shoulder stroke knee, limited. Jason Brownlee, ankle limited. Jalen Holmes, elbow limited. Solomon Thomas, limited with a knee. Jordan Whitehead, he's a defensive back, knee. Max Mitchell, O-line, neck, full practice. Joe Tippmann, O-line, shoulder, full practice. Carter Warren, O-line, hip, full practice. And Quincy Williams, who is a linebacker, he had a knee injury and he's full practice as well. So there's quite a lot on that as well. Quite a lot of good players.
Quite a lot, but I think most of them will be available.
I think so. The limiteds and the fulls.
Wilson's probably the main one, you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it was.
Because So
Yeah, it was Trevor Simeon who came in for him in relief.
I just
think
thought he got benched. I didn't even know he got concussed.
No, he came out. They were 30-0 down at the time and had 3 yards of offense against Miami. But yeah, he came out of the game with a concussion. So I thought he'd actually be okay, but maybe not. I'm looking at that injury
He didn't
report, and actually, to be
participate.
honest, I didn't pick up on that earlier on in our talking points. So yeah, it might be Trevor Simeon under centre, who's probably going to have the game of his life anyway. I mean, Christ, we got beat by Danny DeVito, so it's might as well just resign to the fact that
Exactly.
this is going to happen.
Can we get any lower? I think that would maybe it, because nothing else that can make it lower really than what we've had this year.
Well, I don't want to hear the fans after if we do get beat shouting for screaming for Ron's head. I mean, there's 2 games.
He's not going anywhere. They're giving us last 3 or 4 games and then go off to the sunset run. Unfortunately, mate, you've not made us any better. I mean, you're going to say your legacy is going to be Sam Howell, but I don't think it is, mate, because.
And that's the thing. I mean,
anything with him.
What do you want to see then for these next 3 games, Scouse? What's your thoughts? What do you want to see? Is it an evaluation of the roster? Is it looking at these young players and saying, "Look,
well, it has to be, doesn't
can
it?
they play?"
It has to be an evaluation of the players, of course it does, because everything's going to be brand new. The whole, it's going to be completely wiped clean. Most of this, like 99% of like the coaches, probably even the scouts, everybody is going to be gone.
26 players we've got that are out of contract.
And I reckon we might, and again, we don't even know how many we're going to keep, because it's not that you can say there's any bias of like, oh, we love this guy, want him back, because all the coaches are going to be gone. So
exactly.
And this is the thing, you see, there's going to be so much upheaval that it's hard to actually.
And the thing is,
on it and say this is what we're going to do, because it could go either way. Joe Shane coming in. Is it Joe Shane? Shen.
Eugene Shen,
Eugene. So if Eugene comes in and goes, well, actually, I really like this guy, want to keep him, then fair play. But we don't know, because he's not going to tell us. So we're not going on until kind of the off season when their contracts
absolutely
else, because these guys are going to be signed on on the day, because most of the guys we're going to keep realistically from the 26th are going to be guys that are going to be 1-year prove-it deals or this and that again, or low contracts. I can't see us going there and paying big time money for one of our guys. I mean, maybe Curl, maybe, and even then,
maybe Curtis Samuel's the other one. You think?
And I'm one of Cam's biggest fans, and even he can't do it on his own. But he hasn't been very good. He hasn't been very good the last few weeks either. So, it's it's just painful.
And that's interesting, because that is 26 that are on the roster. We also have. That are out of contract, but we also have probably 3 or 4 or 5 players who are under contract at the minute that we know can potentially be cap casualties as well. See you later. Charles Leno, you're saving $7.5 million. Nick Gates isn't actually a huge cost against the dead cap. Andrew Wiley probably going to have to hold him, because of his contract. And then you're talking about the other players there that is everybody on the trading block? Is John Allen going to go? Is Terry going to go? The only one who's probably 100% guaranteed I'm definitely going to stay is Daron Payne, because of the size of his contract.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree. It could easily be, I say, why everybody's on the table who's still available, because you got other guys under contract. Most of the guys are rookies. There's only a couple of guys, the big name guys you just mentioned there, Terry, Allen, Payne. They're the only guys with the big contracts.
Yeah. Everyone else doesn't really have a huge amount.
Year.
I mean, Leno's going to get paid quite a lot of money next year, because he did restructure his contract 2 years back to give us a little bit more cap to kind of pay for Terry in the off season, if that makes sense. Right. But he's due 15 million next year. But you cut him in the off season, and you only have to pay him 8 million, and you're saving 7.5. Now, if I'm Eugene Shen, or I'm the guy who's the cap master, I'm looking at that and saying, hold on a minute, I can gain 7.5 million by cutting this guy? Well, I'm going to do that, because that's my entire draft class paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? It is a bit of a strange one.
You've also got to think about everything's risk and reward.
Of course it is.
If you cut Leno, you're getting, what are you getting from him? Is he worth 15 mil? Probably not. I'd say he's average. as a left tackle. He's not dog shit, but he's not
No.
good. You know, he's kind of serviceable to a certain extent. That's what he is. But he's not. But 15 mil is too much. You know, I understand left tackle's premium position. Even average guys get paid well in that position. I get it, but I think unless he would restructure again, I think he will be cut. I do believe he might be.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I think Nick Gates is definitely one, as you mentioned there, could still be one who could be cut. Wiley, I think, going to stay. I do think Wiley stays, and I do think Payne and Terry. I mean, but even then,
funnily enough,
someone offers you a first rounder for Terry, you might take it. So.
Yeah, funnily enough, we've asked this question before. We've just kind of talking about it, but Arch Deluxe on X has said, if you're standing on the table to bring back 2 free agents next year, who would they be?
Is in our free agents, you mean?
Yeah, is in our team. Who are you going to bring back? If you can stand on the table and fight for 2 people off this team, who are you bringing back? I've got my 2 already in the top of my head.
Cam Kill for me. Cam Kill's one.
Yeah, understood.
And
you probably only got one. I would say Curtis Samuel for me.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, even then,
I think he deserves, but I think he deserves a contract. Very similar to even what he's getting paid now. If you can get it a couple of
10 million.
No, I don't. I really
That's
don't.
what he's on. I think his contract now.
I know, but I think if you get it for 7 or 8, I'd probably pay that. Honestly, he's been our best receiver for the last 6 weeks. He's been our best receiver for 6 weeks. He's constantly scoring touchdowns. Got 2 last week. Got a couple the week before. He's a good player. He's a very good player. And he's an above average wide receiver, and they're hard to find, especially when they're a veteran.
You could use him a lot better as well. You can use him a lot better than we could use. We could have genuinely used him like Debo, but we.
I know.
We have wasted his talent, to be fair.
But after that, I'm struggling. I'm really struggling.
I mean, Kendall Fuller, maybe.
Possibly.
Again, if the price is right, maybe, because he's still a very smart, very cerebral guy. He's just not very fast. That's the problem. He gets burned quite easily over the top. But if you play zone enough with him, I think he'll do okay if you do the right scheme, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that,
again, we don't know who's coming in.
You are grasping at straws now. Yeah. So for me, I mean, I'll probably go with you. I'll probably go with Curl and Samuel, to be fair.
I agree with that. Well, I suppose we're here now, so I might as well get into these fan questions then. So, Deucelicious, at a Deuce on X, he said, do you think the price increases will run off all the people who bought season tickets for the first time last year to see only one home victory? Well, I saw that one home victory with you, Scouse, and Andy Burrows, and I'm a season ticket holder this season for the very first time. I've renewed because I'm up in the gods. My season ticket hasn't gone up in price. I get the price increase completely. Do I think it runs people away? No, I don't. But I think also at the same time, I think it's decision-making time for people. It's cost of living crisis across both sides of the pond here. We're in it quite hard. Estates are in it quite hard. You know, times are difficult. Times are tough. You know, spending money on American football and the NFL in particular and a lifestyle choice is difficult. Are you going to feed your family? Are you going to go to an NFL game? You know, these are choices.
I think, there's definitely choices for some people.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're in dream seats, you're probably not. You probably don't mind that choice. You know what I mean?
But you've probably got the money to be able to burn still. You know, but I do think it was horrible timing. Them actually when they actually increased the prices, considering how bad the product is on the field. 100%. I definitely think it was a horrible time to do it. It should have been at the end of the season. Say, look, you know, we have to pay for these new screens, whatever, seats, blah 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 blah. You know, we've got to get it back some way, and unfortunately, we've got to increase the prices by whatever. Okay. Now the problem is as well. I mentioned it last week or week before. You know, some guys are getting charged double of what it actually was the year before. So, and some people aren't getting any, like you mentioned. So there's no increase for you, but it's double the price for a dream seat on the 50-yard line. You know, that for me is ridiculous. Again,
it's outrageous, isn't it?
It's how can you expect? I mean, can the guys probably afford it? People who pay there anyway probably can afford it, but they're not going to afford it because they feel like they're getting fucking ripped off because they're not getting a real good product on the field. If we were like Eagles, who are constantly in the playoffs, constantly going deep in the playoffs, then you probably would pay it. Even if it doubled in price, you probably go, for fuck's sake, it's increased by that much, but I'm still going to pay it because my boys are doing well and I want to be there for it. This team is absolute garbage. This team is going to be a whole new team next season, a whole new roster virtually. Can you expect us to gel and be instantly hitting the ground running and being a really good side? I can't see it. I just can't see it. You need some sort of genius coaches to make that happen. And
it does happen. Look at D'Amico Ryans in Houston. He's done a job in a year.
But he had a lot of good players there, though. It was just like
and high draft picks as well.
And high draft picks to pick up, and then he picked up CD Stroud, which is obviously I say him the best QB in the draft by an absolute mile. I loved him. I loved his tape in the combine as well. And he was by far the best quarterback in that, and he's proven that he is the best in that draft class by a mile.
And then you pick up the amazing edge rusher as well, right 2 picks later.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He's got them, and then you think about like Tank Dell and these other dudes absolutely lighting it up. I mean, even guys like Nico Collins have actually joined teams, and it's like this guy's bank average wide receiver. CJ Stroud to make him look world beater. That's the difference a quarterback can make, but also an O-line. Stroud does get a lot of protection.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's at the moment with a concussion, so I don't know. You can take some of my thoughts with a pinch of salt, but either way, they were nearly there. They just needed like 3 or 4 guys, and they got 3 or 4 guys in the draft. That actually are producing, and look at them. They're a hell of a lot better than last year. And I think where they didn't overhaul their team, they didn't lose 25 dudes, and
that's a lot to lose as well. That is a lot to lose.
It's half your squad. It's half your squad.
But remember, you saying that it's half your squad. We have to get a 90-man roster together.
Yeah, and
not just 55. You got to get 90 dudes at training camp, and that is a lot.
Oh, 100%. 100%. You'll be getting guys off the streets like we have been doing already. We're going to be getting all sorts of dudes like this. See, anybody's about guys who've fallen out who don't get drafted. All these unrestricted guys, we're probably going to order maybe 10 or 15 of those guys. Our old practice squad is already there now as well. So
it's true.
So it's kind of, I just find that we're just not going to be at the level required to justify the kind of money that they're asking for certain seats in the stadium. And I just think it's totally out of order. Now, don't get me wrong, right? If Josh has got a brilliant idea, a brilliant master plan, and he's going to bring in a high-profile coach, why didn't you hire him first? And then the prices go up.
Yeah,
because the fans are going to be buzzing. Oh yeah, we got Harbaugh, or we got this guy or this guy. The fans will be loving it because he's a big name, strong character, etc., etc. Now Jesse's all in on him. And the thing is, then you could say, well, we just hired this guy. He's going to make it right, boys. He's going to make it right to the fans. He's going to make it right. Prices go up. See what I mean? So then,
yeah, I can understand that.
You've got to use the tactics.
I don't know if there's a deadline. I don't know if there's a deadline about money and how it works. Whether you have to, I'm not sure around how season tickets renewal works. To be honest with you, and whether it's all got to be in by a certain time.
Surely you can delay it until you hire your new coach. So
possibly, I'm not sure, but yeah, good question that, and thank you for sending that in, Deuce. Appreciate it. Rod Morrison. I mean, immediate segue here, Scouse. You're doing it again. You don't even know it. Look at this. He's basically said, "Does Howell recent dip in form mean that a QB will be taken in the draft, or do we keep the current QB room?" Now, for me, we can't keep the current QB room because Jacoby Brissett is going to go somewhere else. He's the highest paid backup quarterback in the NFL. We can't do that again. That's impossible.
I just think he would. I just think he'd want to stay in backup. To be honest.
No, I don't think so either. Sam Howell, we said it before earlier in the show. You and me are both still on the train. Whether the train's going to oblivion, I don't know. He's not had a good
right off a cliff. That's where
what I'm saying. Yeah, he's not. Or are we on the train that turns into the DeLorean in Back to the Future? Who knows? But it's just the last 4 weeks have been a nightmare for Sam. This was the opportunity he had to prove to himself, I am the guy. I am the starter in here. I have the keys to this franchise. And he hasn't taken an opportunity.
There's so many variables, though, mate, to make him successful.
I
You know,
agree.
it is a protection problem. It's a play calling problem. It's his own confidence problem. His own hold on to the ball problem. There's so many, and that's just five I just rattled off the top of my head. There's so many more problems going on. I mean, you don't know that he's being sabotaged. You don't know that. I mean, let's face it. Sam Howell's only does well when he's actually gone off script and decided.
When he's off script, out the side, he's out the side of the pocket. Yeah, I understand.
You see what I mean? So what's going on? Where is EB trying to make him look bad?
Where's the deep ball gone?
These things, man.
Where's the deep ball gone? Hasn't thrown a pass that's been a reception over 35 yards. Hasn't thrown one this season.
Look what happened in his first game. His very first game.
Correct.
And I'm not I'm not a Scott Turner fan.
I know.
And what happened? He let him throw the ball deep. Terry, that amazing throw down the touchline.
Yeah, Terry actually had to go, holy shit, my hamstrings, I've got to get into another gear.
I've got to go to my full pelt. And he made it, and that's why you think he's got a flash. That's why you think he's got the skill set, but he's not using the skill set. And I don't know what it is. I mean, I say there's so many.
But there is loads of variables.
Variables and problems that he's had to negotiate, and unfortunately, he's just not ready to do all that. I just think EB shafted him a little bit. I do with the play calling. I definitely do think that. I think the O-line are just not very good. So again, who'd you blame there? EB and GM Ron. So you got to blame that because you didn't get any good players in. I mean, the offensive line when Ron first started was unbelievable.
Yeah,
that was a top 5, top 6 offensive line in the NFL, and then we just let it all go to shit. So that's on Ron. That's on Ron's watch. That's your fault. So and you got obviously those things, and then you got obviously now you're getting the confidence problem. Now he's seeing ghosts. He's been sacked so many times, and that's what I hate. That's what I didn't want from him. That's the thing I didn't want to say. I don't want him seeing ghosts. I don't want to end up being like another David Carr, where he was like going to be in this next protege, and then he ended up seeing ghosts, and that was god awful, and then out the league in 3 years.
60 sacks. 60 sacks this year, Scouts. Now, don't get me wrong; they're not all. You can't give them all to the O-line. But he makes mistakes, and we've heard this rumor and this whole thing of, I'm not getting off the train. I'm not. I do believe in Sam, but we hear this. He doesn't make the same mistake twice. That's complete bullshit because he threw back-to-back pick sixes in 3 games. Come on now. And then again, interception again. Quarterbacks are going to throw an interception. It's inevitable. Patrick Mahomes throws interceptions.
It's a lot of averages, isn't it?
Of course it is.
You're going to throw a bad one somewhere, and it gets picked
It happens. But what happens to us is it happens at times when we need him not to throw a pick, or it's returned for 6, or it's at the worst time we're in the red zone, or it's when you're looking like we're right back into the game here and he throws an interception. 3 pick sixes back to back is not acceptable, no matter what way you deal with it. And I'm now looking at this and starting to think to myself,
is he the man?
We've been here before. Lots and lots of times, and thought, we've got the guy.
Just think about this. Sorry to interrupt you, but just think about this. When RG3 and Kirk Cousins were fighting it out, how good was Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, he wasn't very good.
No, he was awesome.
Oh no, as in like when he came in,
he became awesome because why? Because he was getting pressurized every single day in training. I could lose my job at any goddamn time, and that's exactly, and that was the same with RG3, especially that first season. Second season was a little bit different, but once Robert went, what happened to Kirk?
Yeah,
his level dropped because he wasn't under any pressure anymore, and his whole career ever since. He's never actually been under any pressure because he's been a starter no matter where he's been, and the backup is nowhere near as good as him. So he's had an easy street. So, but his level's dropped to a certain point. You know what I mean? Like, it's still good, but it's not great. And he could have been great if he was pushed harder by another quarterback in the room.
He's still a top 15 QB, Kurt. So no matter what you look at it in stats wise, he's right up there.
In between the 20s is amazing, but obviously it's the red zone problems for him.
Yeah, of course it is.
But in general, how he was a lot better when he had somebody like lighting a fire under his ass. And I'm not talking about the coaches. I'm talking about actually a genuine threat to his job at QB position next to him in the room. We're going to fight it out. Look at the Billy Kilmers and the Jurgensens and all that. Iron sharpens iron. When you're QB at such a high level, and then you've got your backup is so bad, or just bang average, or already knows that he's never going to play unless barring injuries or whatever, then maybe Sam's taking it easy a little bit, maybe in his own mind, just subconsciously.
Maybe.
Like, well, if I play badly, okay, that's maybe the reason why Ron dropped him.
So do you think the spark gets under his arse now because Jacoby's come in and threw two touchdowns and he's like, holy shit.
I think you'll play better. Obviously, but it wasn't very hard to not play better than what you played last.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Bad. But to answer the question, for me, I'd say I'm still in on Howell. I still, as you mentioned the stats before, he's as good as these other guys in his first season. These guys who become legends. You're not mentioned it, but Peyton Manning, he was god awful his first season.
He terrible.
He had something like 20 odd interceptions. It was ridiculous. And they still kept up with him. No, he's generational talent. Don't worry about it. Just give him the time. And he became
Troy Aikman, terrible first year. Terrible.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened with was it Troy Aikman? Did he have Drew Bledsoe?
Yeah.
See what I mean? Them two were fighting it out for that couple of years at the first start of Aikman's career. Those things make you better as a quarterback. If you've got a guy who's like, whoa, I'm really trying to push this dude out the team, you've got to be good enough. And not
so do you think then maybe the Taylor Heineke and the Sam Howell debate could have been better this year rather than having a Brissett who's going to come in, be a game manager, teach you how to be a pro, show you the ropes, show you this is how you do things. I'm experienced. I know I'm sitting on the bench. I'm holding a clipboard. That could have been a detriment. It could have been a factor.
It might have been. And the thing is, as well, to answer the question again, before we went off,
yeah, no, sorry, mate. Yeah,
is that you could justify going quarterback at 4 or 3?
You could. You have to look at it.
Because if you look at it and you bring in, say, I don't know, Drake May, I don't know, Penix,
Williams.
whatever. Williams won't be in third or fourth spot.
He won't be.
He's going 1 or 2. But anyway, just say you get one of those guys who are genuine, like, these guys could be next, like, a pretty good quarterback. Will that make Sam Howell play a lot better? Will that give him the fire that he needs to be, hey, you're taking my job? No, you're not, mate. You're not taking my job. And prove it and push each other to higher levels. See what I mean? So that's the thing. You see, it's hard, isn't it? Because you just don't know which way they're going to go. Because you don't. If it was Ron, you probably will be looking at knowing him probably a bloody kicker off in the first round.
Yeah. Brock, whatever his name is, the tight end, Brock Bowers. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly though, it's
so difficult question at the moment.
Yeah.
But for me, would I hate them going quarterback? Yes, I would hate it, but I'd understand it. But I'd prefer us to draft a guy and draft around Sam personally.
Other thing you've got to think about here completely, and a lot of people make this argument to play the devil's advocate. Now, to be honest with you, it's normally you doing this, but I'm with you. I'm in the same boat as you. I said before, build around the guy, start from the trenches, drop the quarterback in. That's how it works.
That's how you win the NFL.
How you win championships. That's how you win championships every time. But if you get a quarterback in and you look at this and you think to yourself, okay, well, we're going to go at 4 and we're going to do this. This is a brand new regime coming in. They have absolutely no loyalty to Sam Howell whatsoever. Josh Harris wasn't here when Sam Howell was the quarterback. None of this ownership team, none of this new regime coming in is going to have any loyalty to him at all. So,
totally right.
So yeah,
I mean, you might even go the other way.
Yeah,
I mean, you might even go the other way. I mean, you might go QB at 3 or 4, and then push each other a little bit, and then maybe even trade at trade deadline for
possibly
somehow, trade them away, or whoever's playing better or whatever in that longer part of the off season, and then in the first part of the season. You might go, well, okay, yeah, and don't forget. I mean, you got to like the 5-year contracts as well that you can get on first round fees.
Yeah,
that after this season coming up next, next season coming up, after that season,
got to make a decision.
Sam's only got 1 year left on his deal, and he doesn't have a 5th year option because he's a 5th round pick.
But again, to go back to devil's advocate, if you've got an elite right tackle bookend and you've got an elite left tackle, and then you can build it through you can build the rest through free agency, or you've got, because I think the only piece we have on the offensive line is Sam Cosmi. And I'm not being funny. Sam Cosmi is absolutely playing his arse off at the minute.
I think as well that no one's given Stromberg a chance here.
No,
but
they're not
I
even
think
looking.
No one's even looking yet, but he's injured now. He's out now, so he's out now for the season. But I'm talking like as a true centre, as a starter at centre.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
he could be the starter next season. I really do. Give him there, and then got Cosmi. Then you need 3 dudes and genuine starters. Then obviously backups that you need, but still.
But you can find a left guard in free agency that's going to be at least decent.
Good. I mean, Dalton Risner was up for like the first 4 weeks of the season. I mean, he's not there now. He's taken by the ground.
No, he's at the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, he's Vikings, is he? Right, okay. Mm-hmm. So either way, there's possibilities for those positions, but the elite ones are never going to be there.
No,
so
not.
Your bookends are hard to get hold of, and they cost a lot of money in free agency. Those deeds.
So that's why you draft them.
Exactly, that's why you should draft them, and this is why it's an interesting conversation, and you can talk hours about it because you can argue it either way. I mean, me personally, I would go with Howell. I would go for a left tackle at 3 or 4.
100%.
Joe Alt's my guy, but if he's gone, then obviously I go to take Fashion You. And then who I'd be looking at for the Bears pick at the second round that we're getting. I'll be looking at Fuaga, the right tackle.
Yeah, Fuaga's amazing. But honestly, I don't
get those two. You get those two with the 50 pick.
I don't think he'll be there.
The offensive line's instantly not 100% fixed, but near enough. Then you're looking for a guard. Do you know what I mean? You're looking for a guard. I mean,
I think Fuaga goes in the first round, towards the back end of the first round.
I think he's top of the second personally. Yeah. So I'm hoping that Chicago keeps losing a few more, so we get a higher draft pick, and then maybe take him with. Or we could just take him with our second rounder.
Yeah,
we're going to be number 2 or 3 the way it's going.
But if not, there's a guy called Paul. His surname's Paul, I think.
Another Paul.
It's Chris Paul's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he better? I'm hoping he's better.
100% better. He's a right tackle.
Oh, okay.
And he's very good. Very good.
Well, to be fair, that could even be a good one because obviously Chris Paul's probably still going to be here. I mean, he could cut him, but he probably will be here as a backup. What about Charles? Is he out of contract?
Charles is, yes.
So we've got no left guard then, have we? Besides Paul?
No. So that's what I was saying. You've got to probably fill left guard in free
why
agency.
We didn't try the crazy man Gates there. He played left guard for the Giants. I don't understand this, But anyway.
Anyway, we'll move on from that.
That's on again.
So Simon Oliver, Coach Cy21, has asked, and we've kind of covered this, but I will go through it again. He said, "What direction do you think Josh Harris and the new ownership will take post-season? Will most players and coaches be replaced?"
I've got to say, yeah. I think. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 who might stay. Maybe because Josh is hanging around these guys and really being impressed with some of them. Maybe they might stick around. But at the end of the day, it's going to be mostly on Eugene Chen.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be the guy who's going to be roster building, really.
What we need to do is get the GM in.
Yeah, he's going to hire
the GM built.
He's going to hire the GM, and him and the GM are going to build the team, build the roster. Yeah, so,
absolutely.
I mean, so it doesn't matter really if you are a good friend of Josh, or maybe Josh might just say, "Hey, let's keep this guy because I like him or whatever." That might be
worrying reports, Scouts, that he's got very close to Marty Herney over these last.
Don't get close
weeks.
to him, mate. He's a loser. He's a loser. He hasn't won anywhere he's been.
Nothing.
Just don't. Even though you might talk a good game, you might believe in him. Do not put him in anything to do with personnel decisions. Just don't do it. You'll cost yourself. You'll cost this team another 5 years. No, because he'll make more mess ups of this of the drafts that he's already been a part of. And don't forget, he's been a heavy part of these drafts as well. I know we blame Ron a lot, but him and the 2 Martys, both of them are all heavy involved in the drafts, and all of them have been shocking. So I don't care what Herney's trying to say and trying to weasel his way out of maybe losing his job. That's probably what it is. And that's why he's being best mates with Josh. But for me, it's kind of like, I mean, okay, you want to move him kick him somewhere else in some sort of office role or something. Fair enough. As long as he's away from player personnel and acquisition.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that completely. Honestly, Simon, to go back to your question and answer it, Yes, I think the roster, we talked about that, 26 players are out of contract. Vast majority of the roster is going to go. It's going to probably take 2 years to rebuild this if we're being absolutely brutally honest with us. Do not expect instant success next year. We've got 90 million in cap space, which is going up with a saving of around about 14 million still in the bank this time round. So probably going to circa have about 100 million-ish to play with by the time it gets round to the remastered 2024 cap space, which I think is 242 million, up from 224. When we look at that, about 100 million. 100 million is not going to last you very long when you have to fill a roster this far.
When you've got to buy 26 players, it's
maybe we can have one, maybe we can have two decent players on larger contracts, but we're certainly not going to be, we'll get this guy, they'll get this guy, the top free agent signings. We just cannot do that. The guys who do that and they have a top free agent signing, they generally have about 40 million in cap space. They go with one player and they go, right, that's who I'm signing this season. And the vast majority of their players are under contract. They don't really change their roster.
Exactly. I mean, you might see, I mean, just look, for example, the Eagles.
Yeah.
Eagles season with hardly, like, no one could beat them, really. No, we did once, but they were virtually unbeatable. They were excellent side. They had strength and depth everywhere. This off-season just gone, they ended up losing like half the defense. They had to let half the guys go, couldn't afford to keep them all, etc., etc. Then that's where you got the younger line, especially linebacker position and safety areas. They're not as good there, and they're being punished for it now. You can't keep a stellar team for long, because that's the whole point of the NFL cap, that you can't keep
the Rams
at that level. Yeah, the Rams.
Look at the Rams mortgage the future.
Yeah, mortgage the future. I mean, they're actually ahead of schedule now. Actually, they're doing really well with this young team. I mean, picking up Nakua in the 5th round was an absolute bloody steal. I mean, I didn't even know about the guy. I mean, that's how good their scouts are. They found this guy and he's actually tearing the league up. There's only us he didn't actually tear up. Everybody else has been tearing up.
Yeah.
So that's what you need. You need world-class scouting.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't have. That's what we don't have. We keep picking the same old shit.
And no one could pick a linebacker.
Yeah. They pick a first-round linebacker, try and make him into something he's not, and then just ruin him as well. So, it's...
Yeah. Do you know what, Scouts? I could genuinely do another hour on here, but we are probably way over time now. So if you are and you have made it this far, I'm not going to do a JP Finley and owe you a beer, but genuinely, if you've made it this far, thank you for staying with us. We really appreciate the support we're getting. Thank you to everyone who's put a question in again this week. You are the lifeblood of this show. We always say that.
Any more questions?
No, that's us. That's all of our questions.
Oh, that was all the questions. Okay, I don't want to miss anyone.
You know what I mean? We haven't missed anyone. I checked Twitter as well. We haven't missed anyone. So Deluxe, Deuce, Rod, Simon, thank you for your questions. Really appreciate it. You can catch us also on the Bleeding Burgundy post-game show, which is coming up obviously Sunday. Don't think we'll be doing one because it's Christmas, so I think that'll probably be through. Maybe early Christmas morning.
Difficult, man. Always find that difficult, especially like the 9 o'clock games when it's like 12 at night.
So hard that
I get up at 5. You know what I mean? Like, oh mate, I really don't spend a half hour moaning about the match again.
Yeah, I know it's not for everyone.
That'll just rile me up more, and then I can't sleep for an hour anyway because I'm still waked up. So then I end up like getting 2 hours sleep, and then I'm pissed off. Then
the joys of being a UK NFL fan, Scouts. You know what I mean? Especially this team.
I've not been to too many of the late ones, but
I know I get that. And then Friday, so tomorrow, I record with Jesse on the Bleeding Burgundy. Saturday, we have a pick show, which is going pretty well. And you record on a Wednesday, don't you? Or is it Thursday also for the bunker? Has it just come out today? I'm not sure whether you recorded today or you didn't.
We didn't record today. It's normally Fridays and Mondays.
Fridays. There you go. Yeah, thank you.
But obviously we're missing one of our main dudes. So So and obviously Fridays, that was always a problem for me to do Fridays. So family issues and that. So unfortunately I don't do Friday. That's why I'm not there on a Friday with the bunker. But I do tend to do Mondays when they do them.
And we also have a Sunday morning show as well that you are in with Deuce on Red Zone in the Lab UK. Or is it Red Zone in the UK? I don't know which one it
It's
was.
Red Zone the Lab, and then there's a UK version of it.
UK version.
When you click on the link, it's got us.
And that's normally comes out on YouTube live around about 11 o'clock.
Yeah, normally about 11 o'clock in the morning UK time, so obviously early for the Yanks, but yeah, not too bad for us.
So yeah, if you want to keep listening to us, we're on every show. We're like we just let ourselves go to wherever the nearest bit is. Yeah, come and give us a listen. But thank you for staying with us. We really appreciate it. Been doing this over a year now, and honestly, I can't thank people enough for doing it.
To be fair, we do because we love just chatting ball. But
of course it is.
I mean, it's great to that we do have some people who do spend their time, because time's valuable at the end of the day.
Of course it is, mate.
And so I do appreciate everybody who does listening to us and spends an hour at a time or an hour off sometimes, listen to us moan basically and talk a bit, talk about the games, and so we do appreciate it. It makes it worthwhile doing it,
Of course it does, yeah. Even if we said before when we picked the mic up for the first time, even if one person listens and says, "Yeah, it was great," that's enough for me.
Yeah,
thank you for all the support.
At least one, don't you? I mean, if we had 0, would it be worthwhile doing? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll stop doing it then. Yeah, but there you go. All right, well that about does us. Thanks very much everyone for listening, and we'll be back the same time next week. Thanks everybody.
Bye.